Hi, this is Stan with Barzy Industrial. I'm looking for Tony.
Sure, I can see if he's still here. Hold on one moment, Stan.
Thanks. Hey guys, welcome to Barzy. My name's Stan, and today we're on a bit of a field trip, and I've got Mike here from Standridge Granite, and he's going to take me on a little shop tour. But first, we had some questions from the viewers, and a lot of these came in over the Facebook page, and some of them came in on the YouTube channel. And first and foremost, Mike, thanks for taking the time
No problem.
and being able to show us around. First and foremost, why do we use granite plates? What is the reason for using stone?
Prior to World War II, the metrology world used cast iron steel plates, but because of war efforts, they had everything melted down. So granite surface plates at this time were created because we weren't able to use steel. It was all melted down for bullets, tanks, anything for war efforts. So back in the late 40s and early 50s, they discovered that granite actually has a better modulus, modulus elasticity. It's more stable, and you can actually achieve higher tolerances than with steel. And another big plus too with steel, if you drop a part on it, it burrs out, and you're going to have an error. With granite, it chips away, so it won't affect you.
That's interesting. I had no idea. That's awesome. Okay, so yeah, that's quite a bit of info there. So now we know why granite is better than cast iron or steel. I've seen both types of plates still in use to this day. Some of the lapping plates I've seen are cast iron. Um, where do you get your raw material? Where do you find a chunk of granite like that?
We've been getting the same material since the mid 50s. You can't really change. It's not like you can go find countertop parts. You have to prove that it doesn't bend, that it's not too porous. So our two main areas are Escondido in the San Diego region, and up north by Yosemite in Raymond, California. That's
Okay.
Sierra White granite. So the two main types of granite we sell is Sierra White up north, and Escondido, which is called blue, which is
So
considered black granite. down
Okay,
south.
so it's all locally sourced.
It is, and we have other customers that will send us pieces from all over the world: India, South Africa, China. Anything our customers require, we can sell them.
Gotcha. Okay, interesting. So how do you go about selecting a slab? How do you say, look at that piece, that's going to make a great plate?
Fractures make the first cut. What happens is the quarry pre-selects it for us. If they see the slab is really fractured, they scrap it. So a lot of times when we sell big plates, like to the Navy, we'll sell really big 20-foot plates. When the quarry's cutting and doing blasting, they'll see fractures and they'll scrap it. So what they do is they do some testing, and if it passes that, they'll send it to us and we start lapping, and we'll actually use weights on it with gauges and see if it bends. If it doesn't bend and it's stable, we'll let it sit in our temperature control for weeks and sometimes months, depending on the tolerance. And once it holds its tolerance, we know it's acceptable.
Wow, there's a lot more to this than I
There is.
even imagined. That's great.
We're literally splitting hairs with the tolerance we're working in, so it's a waiting game in our temperature-controlled lab.
That's great. Okay. Next up, can you tell us if you can fix and recertify any other brands? Say someone's got a Starrett plate, one of the Starrett Pinks or
Yeah,
something?
it doesn't matter. Starrett Pink's great quality granite. Starrett, even though they're a competitor of ours, they're still good friends of ours. They do really great work. Any granite plate can be resurfaced. The problem I've noticed recently is there's a lot of cowl houses that have been coming into the market that want to do optical comparator stands and gauge blocks, and they say they can do the plates. The problem is if you don't have a company that's not 100% trained with the granite because it's so specialty, you're not going to find a one-stop shop to do it. You want to find a manufacturer like Standridge or Starrett. But yes, they can be repaired, but they have, if someone's coming into your company and is going to resurface your plate or calibrate your plate, you have to make sure they qualify it with two different gauges. The first is a repeat gauge, which checks for the surface wear. That's a must. Most companies that aren't a manufacturer will only use this gauge. You can't use that to check for overall flatness. You can have a plate that's 30 thousandths out of flatness, but has a zero repeat reading. So you need to use a laser or not a collimator or a planicator to check overall flatness. A repeat gauge won't check flatness. That's only surface accuracy.
Now you offer this in-house and as well as in the field.
We do. Yeah, for the Southern California area, we go out every day. We do a lot of Northern California, Northern Nevada, but we'll go all over the country for certain companies. But every day we're in the Southern California region, and we can calibrate and repair to any grade.
Great. So if I had maybe I had a B plate or maybe a single A
It can
plate,
be upgraded to double A.
and we can bring it into a double A
We
tolerance.
can, and we specialize in a lot of specialty work. Like I said before, we do a lot of work with the Navy, and the Navy wants tolerances closer than what's in our federal spec. The federal spec only goes up to double A grade, which is laboratory, but we'll offer triple A, which isn't an official grade, but that's half lab. So we can get a plate as close as you want. A lot of optical companies will want 20 to 30 millionths overall flatness over a 5 foot by 5 foot plate, and it takes weeks and sometimes months to do, but we can do it.
Wow.
It's all about patience and knowing what you're doing.
Well, I'm only picking up an A plate.
That's fine.
I'm not building a space shuttle out there in
Okay.
Cucamonga, so I thought an A plate was perfectly adequate
It is,
for
and
myself.
any plate that's ordered from us, we're allowed a certain tolerance per size. On an A grade plate for a 2 foot by 3 foot, you're allowed 2/10 of 1/1000 overall. We never leave everything at maximum. We'll always get it a little bit better. So double A is a 10th. We strive to leave it a grade better. So if you order A, we try to leave it double A. If you order double A, we try to make it triple.
Wow.
If you order B, we try to make it an A. We don't leave anything maximum tolerance.
I'm really looking forward to this shop
Yes.
tour. Okay. James Green wrote in, what's your policy if a plate is broken or damaged during shipping?
It's a great question. I would say it depends on where it's damaged. We'll have some customers when their plate's shipped to them that a bottom corner's chipped off. That doesn't affect the calibration in any way. The most important thing when you go to install a surface plate is one, that it's sitting on its 3-point suspension. A plate has to sit on its 3-point suspension. It can't sit on 4 corners, can't sit on 5 points, 10 points. It has to be on a 3-point 20% style. It's a pivoting suspension. There's no more than pressure on one point than the other, so it won't bend it. The other is temperature control, which is massive. You know, if you have a plate, it's certified here at 70 degrees. If you're putting it in a 90-degree shop, you're not going to hold that 2/10 tolerance. It's going to swell convex in the center, probably 1/1000. Same if you put it in a shop that's 40 degrees, it's going to go concave the same amount. If it is chipped or damaged during shipment, I'd always recommend it calibrated no matter what. If there's a chip on the bottom corner, it doesn't affect it at all. That granite's extremely stable. If it's on the top, it could affect it, and it probably needs to be resurfaced.
Got it.
But it'll never shift out of tolerance. It'll just be in that damaged area. The whole rest of the plate will be fine.
Okay. Now, can you walk us through the process of turning a raw slab? I know we're going to go out in the shop and look, but if you get a raw slab in here, maybe it's just been rough ground at the mill or the.
We have 2 facilities. In Azusa, California, we have our rough cutting facility. We have a diamond wire over there.
Okay.
And we'll actually get big boulders the size of cars that come into that facility, and we'll just start filleting that piece just however thick we want. If we want a 6-inch piece, a 24-inch thick piece, and we'll cut it to the dimensions we need, and we'll put it on a diamond saw and saw the exact dimensions, and from there it comes to this facility. And everything's about temperature and patience when it comes here. You can't have a plate come in from outside, like right now it's a little warm outside this time of year.
Yeah.
A plate can't come in at 90 and we start fixing flatness. You're doing it for nothing. It's going to change. Just like any material, just like cast iron,
Yes.
even though steel is a lot less stable with temperature than granite is, it's just like if you hold a gauge block in your hand, you're not going to put it up and buy off a 10 millionth part.
Right.
You need to let it sit and normalize. So we'll bring that piece in, let it normalize in our outside production area, which is temperature controlled within about 8 degrees. And that's in our general production area. From there it sits, we do our rough cuts, and we bring it into our laboratory. That's within 70 degrees plus or minus half a degree. Humidity is within plus or minus about 3.5%. All year long, 24/7, it never changes. And depending on the thickness and the size of the plate, it just needs to sit before we can really do anything to it.
So you'd call that a seasoned plate?
Absolutely, season, or we call it soaking time.
Okay.
That's what it says in the Fed spec. So if I finished a plate at 80 degrees and I'm certifying at 70, it's guaranteed going to change. You can't sell it. So we have infrared temperature gauges that we'll use when it comes in, and we'll check it daily. And you'll see about a 1/10 to 2 degree change per day from top to bottom.
Wow.
But the core is what has to change. Just because the surface of a plate might be the ambient temperature of a room, you don't know what the core of the plate is. That's why you have to wait and be patient. Otherwise, it's going to change out of tolerance before it reaches the customer.
There were stories that Bridgeport let their castings sit out through one full season,
I believe it.
through one hot summer and one cold winter,
Stressing the material.
letting the cast iron relax.
Makes a huge difference.
Before machining. So.
A lot of customers will go out to, when you spoke about us going on site for repair, a lot of our customers will do that. Leave it sitting out for a full year, stressing the steel, take it to heat treat, and then work with it. They say it's a lot more stable.
Very interesting.
And the granite's sitting in the mountains, so I believe it's already heat treated for years and years before it gets to us anyways.
It's going to be around a long time after
is.
you and I are gone.
It is.
Okay. Last question from the folks over on the Facebook page. What group offers do you have available if someone were to get together and buy 3 or more plates?
Typically, it depends on the size. Typically, we have orders ranging from 1 to 50 different pieces. It all depends. If they're a local customer, we like to promote our on-site calibration, so I'll always give a discount to local customers to encourage on-site calibration.
Okay.
So we'll always offer, we'll work with our customers. We're not a huge company, we're a family-run company, so we'll always try to make a deal with customers.
Very good. Very good. Okay, and for those of you that don't know, you can go over to standridgegranite.com, and they do have some price lists on there. Maybe out of date, may not be, but give a call. You know, a real person's going to pick up the phone. You're not going to talk to a machine. Yeah, give a call over to Standridge Granite. Real nice people over here.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go out and have a look at the shop. This is where the slabs are going to sit around and get seasoned for a time, and they're going to check them over a period of time and check for movement, and before they finally become surface plate worthy, start getting ground, start getting pulled into tolerance. This does not happen overnight.
This is a 3-axis wet saw, diamond wet saw. It wasn't in operation when I was there, but you can just imagine the amount of noise this thing makes when it's running. This is where the slabs get cut to rough size. This setup is outside, and it's got sumps below to trap the water, and they have a full water filtration plant to remove the particulate.
That'll cut some slabs there.
Yeah. Normally we have it running.
Content for one video, I don't know. Well, no, I'd do 2 parts. I'm not going to want to miss any content. Happy employees make happy plates.
You want to get a close up on that plate, or?
I will. I'm waiting until he changes gears.
Machine base. See if they're drilling on their way out too.
Okay.
Yeah, out here you can film whatever you want.
Okay.
It's actually a good one. You
This
ever
is-
buy from McMaster Car?
I do. They're right around.
They're
right.
one of our biggest dealers.
They're right around the corner.
They are. These are all from McMaster Car.
Oh, they're for McMaster car.
Yes, they are by far our biggest dealer.
Mm-hmm. shop? I can't even tell.
Barely. He's going down about 2 thousandths a pass.
Oh, that's a lot.
It is until he gets close. Then he's going to be about 4/10 a pass. On this machine's a cutter though.
It's a hell of a wheel.
Yeah. He's just making sure if it's 50 thousandths out of parallel, he doesn't want to go and just ram it in.
And just plow it in. Oh,
Yeah.
you'll roll the edge of the,
Exactly.
of the stone over. What kind of stones do you use?
For the wheel or the stone that's out there?
No, the wheel.
The wheel we buy from. By the way, I was going to tell you, my best vendor is Balboa Supply. Best abrasives vendor I've ever used. They're the most honest company. So if you buy surface grinder wheels, any type of abrasives, they are the place to go. We used to order from a different company, and we were paying triple for the wheels. They're the most honest company I've ever worked with. Those are Radiac grinding wheels.
Oh, I'm using Radiac.
Radiac's the best. I tried Norton wheels; they don't last long enough.
Yeah.
Radiac has a long lead time. They're made in Israel, but they take a long time to get. Far superior.
I've used those Camel grinding wheels. Those are Israeli made too, and I've had some decent luck with the Ruby Blend wheels.
Those are good. This is pure silicon carbide.
Silicon carbide.
This
Okay.
is pure silicon carbide. The green is pure.
Yeah. That looks like a white wheel, but that's a green wheel, huh?
That's a green wheel.
I'll be darned.
It looks just because once it's grinding a little bit.
Yeah.
That's Tony's back there, by the way.
Yeah, I've met Tony before. Yeah. I bought my angle plate off
Oh,
of you
okay.
guys.
You're gonna start that.
I can hear it. I can hear the shh. This is going to be about a half hour or 45-minute show. No, after I'm done editing and cut out all the crap and everything.
Now that's a pretty impressive surface grinder. Let's go take a look at another one that they're in the process of rebuilding and putting into operation right now.
We're gonna get some video of that. That is just.
We had it completely redone. We have brand new magnetic chucks on there. Had all the waves redone 100%. And we actually engineered our own recycling tank with our maintenance department.
Yeah. That thing is
wheels on it are
amazing.
makes no show on YouTube. And all of his customers can't understand. You want me to pull anything out of your way?
Nope. This is a common sight.
It is.
I mean, all my guys are.
Put a digital readout on it.
Yeah, I saw that.
This was actually at the Ford. This was Ford's.
Ford Motor
This
Company?
was Ford Motor Company's, and then it was used for war efforts. And then it sat. This was the last grinder Madison ever sold. This was sitting in their factory. This was the last piece sitting there. Wow. So we were the last people to buy the final Madison grinder. And it was in good condition when we bought it, but you can see we're adding a lot of different components to it.
Very impressive.
We're going to be putting spacers in between the chucks. We wanted to try to space out the bed as much as possible.
Oh, gotcha.
It runs flawlessly right now.
This thing's a monster.
Yeah. You ever work with Schaefer grinding?
Standridge makes all their own inserts in-house, so they do have a need for a regular machine shop as well.
All of our products, our accessories, tri-squares, master squares, V-blocks, went into the calibration of every single Haas machine. Have you been to Haas before?
Oh, yeah.
When you go there, they're using tri-squares. All of our product straight edges are used in the alignment of every single machine that leaves their door.
This is a Haas turning center, and this machine never cools down. This is making their catalog model threaded inserts that go into their plates, and this thing just spits them out all day, every day. Mike says he can't even keep them in stock. The machine, they take them straight off the machine and install them, so they never even make it to a parts bin. But I'm going to keep the camera on it during one complete cycle, and then Mike's going to show you what a finished insert looks like coming out of the turning center.
Okay.
Companies need to use both a repeat gauge to check for surface accuracy and an automator or a laser.
Okay.
The repeat gauge does check for surface finish when you have to use it, but this cannot check flatness. This is checking in a 12-inch area. This is simulating what a height plate shows. So this plate could be 10, 20 thousandths out of flatness, but have the same contour, and this would be zero. If you're zeroing to the plate.
Right.
So that's what this is for. So we're shooting a beam of light to a mirror.
Okay.
And it's reading in arc seconds, which is an angular measurement.
So you would do this, you would traverse the plate diagonally in one direction and diagonally in
There's
another
two ways
direction?
to check. There's the key pattern and the union jack. The first time you're checking the plate, you have to use union jack, which is all lines. We have 8 lines. There's both diagonals, 1, 3, 5, which is the profiles, and 6, 7, which is the crossovers. That you have to shoot a plate that way the first time you do balance. Once you've done a plate a couple of times and you know it's flat, you can do the key method, which is you start from the center, which is how we're set up now, and you shoot both diagonals and both crossovers.
Oh, gotcha.
But that's after you've gone through the plate. You can't do that for the first time.
Okay.
So what this is doing is we're using a simple mag light. You don't have to. It's any type of light source.
Okay.
The old school method had a massive light source you had to plug in that heated up the plate. You can't put heat into the plate for a final calibration, so that's why the mag lights have worked out great for us.
That works just fine.
It does.
And I don't think they had anything like that back
They
in the
didn't.
40s.
No, it's coincidence that it fits in there.
Yeah, that's perfect. Very interesting.
So what we'll do is we'll step off the meter through 2 people. Go ahead and just take it to the very last step. I know the viewers can't see it, but go ahead and look in there how much it changed over about 4 foot. That changed plus 1 arc second, which on an 8-inch mirror is 40 millionths. So over that almost 4 foot distance, it only had a 40 millionths deviation in flatness.
I wish you guys could see in here. This is just hyper accurate. This is awesome. That's great. And you would check that in how many spots while you're moving diagonally? You check
It's
it
an 8-inch mirror. We have different size mirror bases. On a
Okay.
plate this size, we would always use an 8-inch. On a 20-foot plate, we'd use a 10-inch. On a small 2 foot by 3 foot, we use a 4-inch. It all depends. You have to have a minimum of 6 steps per line.
So how often would you check it?
Every 8 inches.
Oh,
Take the mirror.
okay. So basically just
Plot it out.
Okay.
Just plotting out the entire way. You could use any size mirror base for this, but the Fed spec says you need a minimum of 6 steps on every single line. So I could switch to a 4-inch mirror and be fine. I'm going to have a lot more readings that are
just kind of hopscotching down the full length.
correct. And like I said earlier in the video, temperature plays a huge role. So what we've been doing lately is we'll have an infrared gun, a fluke infrared gun, and we like to check top and bottom. So we're within half a degree of 70 on top. We're at 1/10 of 1 degree from top to bottom. This room always takes temperature control.
And it would take probably about a week or so to saturate.
On this side.
I would think so.
On this side, I wouldn't let it sit less than a week. That base sitting over there needs to have a 40 millionth flat indium tolerance. There's no grade for that. AA grade allows you about 3.5 tenths, almost 4 tenths on that side. They want it 40 millionths. So they're wanting a lot closer than AA grade.
Okay, I'm in the shop. I don't have the sophisticated equipment. I don't have the capability of doing all this, but I suspect my plate is bad. Is there, or maybe it's got a dish in the middle, or I got a
There is
corner that's
something
falling
you
off.
can do.
Is there anything I can do?
You can sweep it with your height gauge on it. If you take a 50 millionth indicator or closer, and you sweep your plate, you'll be able to see big holes in it. Not as accurate as my gauge, but you'll be able to see something. You
Right.
won't be able
At
to-
least we know something's wrong,
Right.
and we know we need to call someone in.
Right.
And now I take a surface gauge and get an arm out as far as I
as
could,
far as you can and scan.
and from a corner, and maybe do that on all 4 corners in
Correct.
the center.
It's not going to show you everything it's showing me, and you're not checking for flatness. So if your gauge is staying 0, you're zeroing into the contour.
Right.
But you're able to see holes in the plate. We recommend once a year a plate needs to be checked. You know, the customer, you know how much you're using a plate. We have some customers, their plate wears out every 3 months. A lot of our customers make aircraft parts, and they coat them in plasma, and they wear them out about 3 thousandths every 3 months, so we resurface it. Another customer, I've checked the same plate for 10 years, and it's never gone out of color. So if you keep the plate clean with any type of degreaser, rubbing alcohol, simple green, 409, or a lanolin-based soap, that's really important.
Okay.
It's really important. If it's greasy and you have abrasive in the air, you're making a lapping compound. And no matter what your part is, when you start moving it around, you're lapping a hole in it, just like I am when I go to face. So,
And like a carborundum type lapping,
Correct.
that would be poison. What else is bad for a plate?
hydrochloric and hydrochloric acid, which no one is really going to do. Hydrogen peroxide is a hydrochloric acid.
Okay.
Don't use hydrogen peroxide. After time, it'll fracture the granite.
Okay.
Really, it's industrial. You can't hurt it too bad. Just clean it every time before you use it. And once a week, I recommend a lanolin-based cleaner. It's almost like waxing your car once a week. You can spot clean it, but once a week is clean the entire surface plate with a lanolin-based cleaner.
Now, is it going to leave you this nice flat finish, or is it going to kind of darken it?
Yeah, it'll darken. We actually use it on the plate.
Oh, okay.
I'll hit it for you actually. This is a cleaner. I'll let you take it with you when you leave, but we sell it, but you don't have to use it. Any type of automotive, anything with lanolin in it is going to seal the pores so your gauge can slide over easy.
Oh, sealing the pores. That's something I never really thought about. I mean, I'm just using 409 with
That's fine. I have no problem with that. I'd rather someone do that than nothing at all, but I like to once a week use a sealer.
to seal it up,
It's temporary, but you'll feel your gauge slide over.
and your oil doesn't penetrate as much.
Correct. Correct.
So, I mean, I see this all the time on mine,
And
where
that's
just
common.
the moisture from your hands,
That's
and
common.
when you're sliding the gauge across that, you can feel it kind of stick.
You won't with that.
And this will help.
Yeah, it will. But I still want you to use your degreaser before you use it. But once a week, maybe on a Monday when you start your week, do that with the whole plate. Dilute this with about half water. It's concentrated. It's just like waxing your car.
It's very thick.
Yeah, you can put some on the plate right now if you want to. It won't hurt it in any way. But it's a very thick. You can feel it's a lanolin base.
Oh yeah.
So it will leave a darker color.
So there you have it. Premium granite cleaner from Standridge. You can go on the website and grab that. Okay. And this is water based, and I can just cut it with water.
Yeah. And if you don't like it, you can take it out with acetone.
Acetone. Okay. But our big no-nos are hydrogen peroxide.
Hydrochloric and hydrofluoric acids, but that's if you use it every day. You don't have to worry too much.
And if you're going to lap on your surface plate.
I like to have companies that have one designated deburring stone. If you are going to do it, I like to cover the entire surface with the sandpaper. I hate when people cover half the plate, tape it down with some scotch tape, it comes off after a while, the sand gets under the plate, and they're lapping the plate while they lap the part.
Yeah.
So if you're dead set on putting a piece of sandpaper on your plate, buy an 8x12 that you're not wanting to have calibrated and tape over the entire plate. They won't wear it.
Okay. A lot of my viewers have got space limitations, and they've only got one plate. If they are pinned in a corner, they need a lap on their plate. Is there a good way to do it? I know, clean when you're done.
But the most important thing is every part of that sandpaper has to be completely adhered down to the plate. Nothing can get under. So don't tape it. Use a spray tack glue or 3M like you spoke about. Makes a sandpaper with an adhesive backing.
Peel and stick back.
The entire sandpaper has to be adhered to the granite. Otherwise you're going to ruin it.
Gotcha.
Sometimes beyond repair for on-site.
Okay, anything else you want to go over?
That is it.
All right. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Okay, Mike, well, thanks for showing me around the shop.
No problem.
And I want you guys to go over to standridgegranite.com and have a look over there. And if you are in the Southern California area, feel free to call over here. You'll get to talk to a real person, and all the folks here are real nice and real nice to deal with. If you've got a plate that is suspect and you want to get it straightened out, I'm sure they can fix you up. Now we know you can upgrade a plate from a B to an A or from an A to a double A. But we're going to get out of here and get out of his hair, and I'm going to go pick up my new plate. Thanks for watching, guys.